Okay, here we are back in our Unreal scene. I'm going to go ahead and import in our animation, which is now going to be on the third iteration. I always like to keep my iterations. It just, in case you ever want to go back to something from before, if I make a drastic change, it's just kind of a good process that I like to go by. So now when I look at this guy, I should have the same amount of time that happens before he actually enters the animation. But here's something, I'm looking at this right now, I'm like, hey, where's my animation? Oh, that's right, I moved it in Maya. So now if I go to look at it, it's all the way over here. Hey, is that going to mess things up in my sequencer file? Sure is. How do I fix that? Well, I'm about to show you. So what we're going to do is head on over to our sequencer file. I'm going to change this character animation to be using 3. Now watch what happens. Remember, everything is relative. So I move this over. Hey, the character's like way over here. Well, keep in mind that we actually move the character into position. So what we're going to want to do is move the character back into the proper location. And how do we do that? That's pretty simple. We just hit 0, 0, 0, and everything right there. We kill those keys, and guess what? He's right back in position because we exported him in world correct orientation in Maya. Let's go ahead and kill this. So we don't need that guy anymore. Now we can see, hey, things are a little off. Oops, I think I accidentally killed the animation instead of killing him. There we go. I was still in this window, and I meant to kill that pole right over there. Now, I'm seeing something that is a little nerve-wracking, and that is, that animation is off. That animation is a lot off. Let me kill that extra key there. I don't need that guy falling right there. And you know what? I think I know exactly the problem is. I made a mistake. Definitely made a mistake. Let's go back over here to Maya. I moved the character to start with the camera animation. I had to add the 164 frames for him to start. However, I should have kept that at 100. So let's see what happens now. Make that 4. Export this animation. Because remember, everything started at the same time. Let's see if this fixes it. If not, then my math is off and then I just have to figure it out again. No big problems. No big problems. Oh, actually, I just realized, yeah, my math is off. He needs to start, I need to export from 64 because I just said it. I literally said it out loud and I just realized it. I should start from 64 because, again, I made sure everything started at 64. Tell you what, this is a perfect time to do a little bit of a science experiment. We're going to start here at 64. All animators are going to go through this. Whether it's you're in school or whether you're in the industry, 20 years like myself, this always happens. Always helps to make sure that you have a notepad with you to kind of mark these things down to make sure that you're following correctly. But I think I know the answer. I'm just going to go ahead and go through this entire exercise to see how we feel about it. Okay, make sure everything starts at the same time. So export is almost done. Just waiting for it to finish, going through all the remaining frames. We can see in the bottom right here, it's telling me where we're at. We're almost at 400. And export complete, great. Now let's go back over here to Unreal. We're gonna go ahead and bring in both of those animations that we just exported. One from 64 and the other one from 100. I think I know the answer, but we're gonna walk through this together because this is what it is. It's all about a learning experience. Okay, so import right here. Number 4 is the one that we moved to, that we exported from 100. Make sure that we have here. Great. Import in. And then the additional one that we moved back to 64. Let's take a guess. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Well, let's first start with, let's go in backwards order. Let's go in 5. Great. Now let's scrub through this again. I'm going to put this to our cinematic view. Shot cam. Few notes. We notice that we don't see the feet. So what happens? I know. I jumped to the correct answer because honestly, I was just so excited to show you guys. We had to make sure that we move the animation back to where everything starts like what we had before. Camera animation started at 64. So we want to make sure that our animation is also exported from the same spot. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do a few things to polish this area up just a little bit to coincide with our animation and just make things pop just a hair. So we have this really nice pan and we're trucking in. So what we're going to do here is right before we actually do this zoom in, I'm going to do a key on our manual focus. Let's also do the aperture. And just for a brief moment, I'm going to adjust it so we focus in on our character right here. Again, like I was talking before, move it all the way to the end so everything's blurry, and then move in until it looks nice and clean. And we'll definitely change that area so this guy is a little bit more in focus too. Well, let's bring this over as well, so this should be at 350, so we stay in that focus. Good. Oh, we did a little bit of a, what happened there? Anybody want to guess what happened? Remember, we always want to make sure that our curves are not doing anything crazy, and it looks like it did. Look right there. Had a little bit of a Bezier loopy-de-loop. Put us right into 0. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and grab that. Curves like to do this sometimes. They get a little squirrely. So we're going to set that to, there we go, linear. So we don't have any of these overshoots like what happens there before. Sometimes those are great. Sometimes they help out a lot. But we don't need it right now. So this guy comes in. There we go. And now he looks tough. He looks mean. Yeah, but how can we make him meaner? Zoom in. Let's make sure that this guy is still, we can probably adjust that a little bit more. Here we go, 220, that looks good. There we go. And you know what, we're going to open that aperture up just a little bit so we can see everything. So And when I say everything, I want to see the hand with it too. So we're going to key the aperture right there, move this in, and we're going to open that up just a little bit more so that we can get that hand in focus too. Let's make sure. Oh, look at that. And we got ourselves a little Bezier curve going on there too. Like I said, that happens. That happens. Cool. Now here's something we can do. We can add an effect to the animation to really help things kind of really pop, you know. So what we're going to do is go over to this animation. Oh, let's get out of this. Okay. Properties. Head over here to the animation. Okay. So we're actually going to add a notify to this animation to play an effect when he lands. Let's get right to the area where we want it to happen. What I want to do is play a particle effect on this hand. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to right click here. Oops, sorry. Right click up over here in the notifies, add a notify, play particle effect. Now, we actually have a few particle effects that are available to us in these templates, and I'm going to use one of those. You can absolutely grab any particle effect that you like off the marketplace, utilize it. I'm a big fan of doing that. If you have particle effects in your own projects, you can use it as well. But for these intents and purposes, we're just going to grab one that is available to us in the template. I'm going to use this explosion. Now what's going to happen is when this animation is playing and it gets to this notify, it's going to play this explosion. But we're going to wait for this to go ahead and compile, and I'm gonna show you kind of, you know, what it looks like for right now. It might not be exactly what we're hoping to get, but let me show you guys. Let me see if it at least shows like kind of like the planes that go off for it. Oh yeah, here we go. Hey, why is it all the way over there? Well, because I didn't really specify where I want this to happen. And because I didn't specify for it to happen, it plays it at world 0. So while we're waiting for these guys to compile, I'm going to go ahead. There's two things that we can do. We can either grab this and do the offset here manually, move this over to the location that we want it. That's not easy. It's a lot of kind of guesswork. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a socket in our character and then assign this socket or bone to play this animation there. But I have a feeling I can probably get away. I know it's the left hand. I'm going to say, if I can type it out, middle, we're going to guess left hand, middle 1, and I believe that is, let's go to the skeleton, middle 1 on the left hand. Here we are. Yeah, it's right there, right in the knuckle, the one that's actually making contact. Let's see how that looks. Oh, it does look like it's happening where I want it to happen. We just have to wait for these shaders to compile. Come on, shaders, let's get to compiling. We're going to go ahead and save that. And that's going to fire within our sequencer kind of for free. And what I mean by for free is that we could have the effect animated, fired off here, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do it within this animation. There will be instances in which we do want to have that effect fire off within the sequencer. But in this instance, we don't really need to worry about that. In fact, I can show you both ways. Since we're going through it, we can go both ways with this. But let's play it through here, and you will definitely see an effect happen, but the shaders aren't done yet, and it's just exciting. I'm just very excited. Oh, yeah, so still compiling those shaders. It's not doing it for me. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to tell you what, I'm going to pause the recording just so we can compile these shaders. I think the recording is giving it a little bit of a hard time. We'll be right back. Okay, that took just a second, but we are back in business. So here we are. And let's play this animation through. We see this character come in, do a smash, and kaboom. Scary. Very cool. Plays the effect that we want. And looks very menacing while doing it. Now, what I was saying before, what we could do is that we can actually also import, add that effect into the scene. So say if we find that effect, we can actually just do a search. If we go to content here, we can look for explosion. There we go. If we add that explosion into the scene, and we can also do it right here, add sequencer explosion, and then just do a particle component. Let's see. What's in the particle component? Let me see. Oh, toggle track. Here we go. Active and deactive. So we can just animate it here where it's active. Boom. It plays the animation when I come in. Or we can keep it within our animation. We're going to keep it within our animation. But I just wanted to show you that as a potential for doing the same thing. Okay, let's go ahead and save. Now, what we're going to make sure that we do for all of our sequencers is we're going to add a shot track. We talked about this before. Camera cut track. And assign our camera right here. Make sure it's the full length. And this is telling this sequencer file what we're actually rendering. This is the camera shot track. If we hit this button right here, render this movie to a video or image frame sequence. I'm a fan of doing it as image frames. I feel as if I'm able to get a lot greater control over it. I'm going to set this to 1920. You can go bigger. It's always possible to go bigger. It's just going to take you a little bit longer to render it out. So we can do 1920 by 1080. We're going to set our area where to render to. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and render out its image frames. So what I want to make sure is that we're not at a video sequence, we're at a PNG. 1920 is our resolution. We want to make sure that we are going to the right place. I like to have my file format include my frame count. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and export out this, or start rendering out this sequence. And I'm going to do the additional sequences that we also worked on. And I'm going to move everything into Premiere, and I'm going to do my final edit over there. So we're going to go ahead and call it a chapter now. I'm going to render these out, and I will see you guys for our final chapter in which we put everything together to satisfy the brief. Cool. See you then.